Hello, welcome to the 2024 USA Roundnet State of Roundnet Mid-Year Report. In this report, we'll kind of be walking through the strategies that USAR will deploy over the next year to help grow Roundnet and go through the numbers through the first half of 2024. First things first, this is our USAR strategic vision, the first version of this plan that has been developed. It's meant to serve as a framework to guide us through all of our decision making, and really analyze and understand our capabilities. To read this, you read left to right. So our people, making sure we hit all the key pillars here, leads to satisfactory performance for our players. So our players are happy and healthy, which leads to a greater fan experience, which leads to the growth of Roundnet. From left to right, that's the most important thing. We can't execute if our people aren't happy, and we do that through one, entrepreneurial ownership, two, tracking engagement across our organization, and three, a culture of rapid improvement. We're working on this. Our people have been a weak link so far, but we will make sure that we really make sure that everybody in our organization has the opportunity to be engaged and take ownership and initiative. Secondly, then we move to our players. First, USAR has always been about low costs. We want to keep the cost of playing Roundnet low, while at the same time growing Roundnet. So that will continue to happen in the far foreseeable future. Secondly, player safety. We want to make sure that all our players are safe and secure, and we want to know that if an accident happens, you are covered, and the right people can treat you. Third is through community organization, lifeblood of Roundnet. If we can really capitalize off this and show all our communities that they can be profitable, we believe we can grow very fast. Fourth is through our regional series. We've already launched this year. We'll track that through some tournament dashboards. And then fifth, we want to make sure that all the events that we run are efficient across all prongs. That's cost, that's time, and that's people having fun at our events. Thirdly, we move to our fans. Number one thing that we want to do is improve the watchability of Roundnet. Right now, we have about a 30% double fault rate. Number one prong we're going to go to is less than 10% double faults, and we'll explore that through rules changes. Secondly, is through digital leadership. We want to make sure that we are outputting content monthly and content that is unique and has a USA Roundnet tone to it. Third is ease of accessing media. Right now, it's pretty hard to figure out who to follow or what to track if you are obsessed with Roundnet. Fourth is player connection. Right now, Roundnet does a really good job of this. People who are really new to the game can interact with players that have been playing for years, and we want to continue that. And then fifth is the World Championships. We believe that this is the best step to pushing our sport forward towards the Olympics, and we're going to continue to execute at a high level there. Finally, if we do these three columns right, will lead to growth, and we can measure those through membership growths. We can focus on our community hubs again. Roundnet has always been a sport that has grown through word of mouth, and it will continue to do so. So keep inviting people out to pickups. Keep encouraging them to come to tournaments, irregardless of level, et cetera, et cetera. We'll also focus on our digital ad spend. We believe that this is a big untapped potential to getting players to join communities and our tournaments, and we're going to test this out later this year. Fourth is corporate sponsorships. We don't think Roundnet is at the size yet where it is sustainable for corporations to sponsor us, but in the near future, if we do everything right, that will happen. And then fifth, we want to make sure that we have sustainable financial performance. That means we run profitable events. That means we have zero debts and we pay our bills on time. A little more detail on the first pillar, our people. Firstly, in the past, USAR has struggled in creating a culture of sustainable, effective volunteers, right? So we've had some sustainable volunteers, we've had some effective volunteers, but keeping that going over time is really important to us. We don't want something to exist in 2022 and not exist in 2024. We want to keep that growing. To do that, 6 things will be implemented across the organization. First is a culture of transparency, communication, collaboration, and trust cross-functionally within USAR. That means our rankings committee is going to talk to our board of directors. That means the people making our content is going to talk to our rankings committee. It means the people statting are going to talk, the people doing stats are going to talk to various other people within USAR. The second thing is a consistent focus on our mission and our strategy. Our mission is to create awareness for the sport and foster player advancement, support Roundnet athletes, and develop inclusive communities throughout the globe. And we want to focus on that and focus on our strategy, which is a way to implement that. Third is to tier our positions with encouragement for ownership across the organization. We believe that there are thousands of people that play Roundnet and are invested in Roundnet that want to help grow the sport. And to do that, to encourage them to do that, we want to give them as many opportunities for ownership um, throughout the organization. Fourth, we're going to focus on quality of recruited volunteers over quantity. We want to make sure that if we're taking the time to recruit you to do some crucial work for USAR, we're getting the most out of you, and you're getting the most out of us, rather than having a few people that aren't involved in the organization. Fifth, we're going to measure our engagement and participation levels and really track who is participating and who is not. And then sixth, we are going to explore paid opportunities given our budget. Right now, likelihood that that happens is low, but in the next few years, that should increase rapidly. So far, we've done moving on to our players. So far, USAR has done these things well. First is maintain low cost to attend and participate in Roundnet communities and events. Cost of registration at most of our tournaments is low, and we intend to keep it that way. And the cost of our membership is low, and we intend to keep it that way. And secondly, we have kicked off a regional series with 6 events nationwide. I'll kind of walk us through a tournament dashboard later, but this has been a very successful way to participate in Roundnet, and we believe that we can really leverage our local communities to do that more. And then I'll walk us through the measures later. Room to improve includes community involvement, efficiency of events, and organization in every state. We want to make sure that all of our communities are involved, and there's an incentive to continue to be involved. And we do that by pushing profitability of all these organizations. The more profitable you are, the more likely you can do this as a part-time job and eventually a full-time job, and that's good for growing around that. Secondly, we want to make sure all our events are efficient. Players have to have fun. And then third, we want a Roundnet organization in every state. Right now, we're in 42 out of 50. We need to make this 50 out of 50 in order to best grow. And then likelihood to recommend and ease of finding communities are a couple of metrics that we can implement to measure ourselves. Taking a look at this, to our right is our regional tournament dashboard series. Basically, we're counting players, we're counting new players, we're counting annual members. We'll track the day that people most often sign up early. We'll track the average distance to an event, and we'll track our women's Roundnet signups and participants. As you can see, our Southeast Regional did really well. Part of that is because we were also a spike ball event, and part of that is because the TD really went out and did their best to recruit as many players as possible. Two things that we want to focus on improving is we want to get the number of players less than 75 miles to an event as high as possible. We want to get our women's signups as high as possible, and we want to get our new player signups as high as possible. So our learnings for our 2025 regional series is first, prioritize our communities with greatest growth potential and high density of players already in the USAR ecosystem. We'll touch on that later. Second is explore digital advertising campaigns to bring in new players. Third is to focus on ensuring any all-time USAR members attend these events, right? So if you played a tournament in 2022, you're in our database. We want you to come back out to a tournament less than 75 miles from you in 2024 or 2025. And then fourth is work with pro and gold players to incentivize reasonable travel, but our focus is going to be on local communities at these events. Moving on, let's take a look at our membership analysis. As we can see, 2024 has been a little bit slower than 2023. Various reasons for this. part of it weather, part of it due to our event spread. We'll share this deck, and you can take a look at our appendix later on. But there have been a few highlights. First, the state of Colorado knocked it out of the water. Great job to our tournament directors and our LROs in Colorado for really increasing that membership count across all organizations. If you show up on a chart like this, the likelihood that you get a regional event is high next year. We want to incentivize you to grow your memberships in each state. Another reason, and then let's move to the chart on the right. As of Q2 2023, there were 14 sanctioned tournaments, 10 STS tournaments, and 2 majors. As of Q2 2024, there were 17 sanctioned tournaments, 8 STS tournaments, and 1 major. We believe that is part of what is contributing to the downturn in the total number of members at this point in the year. But we do view that as a risk. So we're going to make sure that we really capitalize on making sure our regional series grows and making sure we sanction events and help every event that we sanction recruit as many new players as possible. Another key thing to note is that by Q2 2023, 1,500 members that played in an event then did not play an event in Q2 2024. So we're going to make sure we do a better job of letting people know that there is an event close by to them, especially if they're already in the ecosystem. Moving on to our fans, we believe we've done these things well. 1 is digital leadership, 2 is player connection, and 3 is winning the world championships. That's important to our members. That's important to us. We want to make sure we are at the top of the line at a global stage. In terms of prongs 1 and 2 there, our digital leadership has grown specifically through the launch of our YouTube channel and posting condensed scoreboarded and statted games. We're going to continue to do that through 2025. But player participation is crucial to this. If you're a player that plays in high-level events, we need you to record your games and we need you to send them to USAR. We'll help with that, and we'll do all the stat taking, scoreboarding, and condensing of that footage. But we need a greater we need ownership of that specific prompt. If you're at an event and you're watching an event and you realize that nobody is recording it, record it. Shoot us an email with your footage. And then content impressions are ways to grow that. Improvement points, this is crucial. First is the launch of a singular platform to explore Roundnet content, and we want stats, scores, videos, and highlights all in one place. It doesn't have to be on the same website, but you should be able to access them on the same website. Think of it as an ESPN for Roundnet. We're working on that right now. If you take a look at the Richmond Major in 2022, or this year's Richmond Major, we statted all games past quarterfinals, and we will continue to do that when possible. And then secondly, we want to increase action points in Roundnet, focused on reducing double faults. And we've measured our double fault percentage. Right now it's at 30%. We believe an acceptable percent is right around 10%, hopefully even less. So we'll continue to experiment with rules changes and use our regional series as a platform to do so. Tracking our current initiatives, video content, we've recorded 75 total games for our regional series, and this number has increased in the last couple of weeks. 1875 minutes of raw footage, condensed that down, we statted all of it, and we'll continue to implement this at future USAR regionals. Future plans, again, ease of accessing media, going to continue to stat quarterfinals and on at all our regionals, and you can take a look at our Richmond Major trial run at roundnetreference.com. And then finally, watchability to the right is tracking all our regionals. Holding 38%, we're fine with that. Aces 21%, we're fine with that. Double faults 29% and defensive breaks 11%. Not good numbers. We'll continue to test to increase our defensive break capabilities and decrease our double fault percentage. Finally, growth. USAR has done these things well. First is networking with communities and LROs to ensure the growth of sanctioned event play. We're sanctioning more events this year. We want to make that easier to do better. Secondly, we've operated at a financially stable level, and those are some metrics there. Room to improve, exploring digital ad spend and corporate sponsorships. and making sure that that we have a better people, player, and fan experience. We want players to come back to our tournaments, and to do so, that means we have to focus on our intermediate, advanced divisions at a greater percent than we're doing now, rather than focusing on the people that are guaranteed to come back to our events. So investing a little bit more there. Few current initiatives. The first one is our community hubs. We need to make this trackable to people that aren't plugged into Roundnet. So check out roundnetnearme.com to find community hubs in your state, and if it doesn't exist, enter your hub's own location. Best way to grow Roundnet is to have all that data. And if we know where everybody is, then we can share that with the entire internet. And then secondly, let's take a look at financial performance. In 2024, we have forecasted revenue of $33,000. 28,000 of that is coming from our memberships, and 5,000 is coming from sponsors in our regional series. We want to continue to diversify that revenue add and include more prongs that aren't just memberships. Forecasted expenses for 2024. Majority of that goes to insurance. It's our biggest cost. We care about keeping our players safe at all tournaments we sanction. Second prong of that is Worlds. That cost is a little high right now, but as players continue to fundraise and people continue to buy merchandise, that cost will go down. And we're counting on that cost going down so that we can spend it on other initiatives and make sure that we are cash flow positive. Third biggest prong is overhead. That includes legal expenses. That includes website expenditures. That includes making sure we pay our taxes. Fifth is our regional tournaments. Next year, we might be able to spend more on this, given that we can continue to make this profitable. And so we're going to focus on those events. And then finally, we have a few $1,000 of funds available to spend on community expenses throughout the rest of the community initiatives throughout the rest of the year to grow the sport. Other than that, if you have any questions, this deck will be posted online. Feel free to reach out to me personally on any platform, or email the info@USARoundnet or usaroundnet.com.org email. And we'll be happy to answer any of those questions. And we want to get you plugged into as many initiatives as possible. We want you to take ownership of this sport, and the sport doesn't grow without you, the watcher, or any of our members. Thank you.